Today we're going to be checking out another 4K media player, another first on the channel, the ZIDOO Z9X 4K media player. Let's unbox! So in the box, we get a beefy HDMI cable, we get our power cable, it comes with a SATA cable. Now this is the first media player that I've ever seen come with a SATA cable like this, but it does come with one if you want to hook this up to an external hard drive. We have our remote, and then we have our 4K media player. Now I'm super excited about this. I don't think a lot of people know about ZIDOO. There's not a whole lot of videos on YouTube about ZIDOO, but I think these are in direct comparison to the ZPD players, which I do have one that I'm testing right now, the ZPD Neo that a subscriber loaned to me. So it's going to be interesting to see how this compares. Now, the ZPD Neo has an internal drive bay where you can stick, I think up to 16 terabytes of hard drive space. You can fill it with your movies. This doesn't have that. I'm going to be using this basically over the Ethernet, but it does have two USB cables. So let's take a look at what it has. Okay, so on the front, we have the ZIDOO logo, and then we have our, I believe this is an LCD screen where our information is going to be. And then on the top, we have 4K, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision, HDMI, DTS, Dolby, and 3D. And then on the side, we have two USB ports and a couple of vents. On the other side, we have our SATA port, and then we have two USB 3.0 ports. And then on the back, we have our two antennas. We have a gigabit LAN, an HDMI out, an HDMI in, optical, AV out, RS-232, DC 12 volt, and our power on and off switch. And then on the remote, we have our power, mute, we have some learning areas, there's a light button, we have our standard keypad, there's a resolution button, back, home, pop-up menu, return, menu, volume up and down, page left and right. We have our directional pad and our enter button, rewind, pause, fast forward, subtitle, stop, audio, repeat, info, mouse, and then we have our red, green, yellow, and blue buttons, and movie, music, photo, and file. Now it's interesting that I didn't see any batteries that came with this player, so you're probably going to have to supply your own. All right, so when we turn on the ZIDOO, this is what we are greeted with. Now, I much prefer this user interface rather than the ZPD's interface, which is, I said in my previous video of that, which is very, very basic. This still isn't my favorite. I still think Plex has the upper hand by a long shot on how their user interface is laid out, but I do like this. So let's take a look and do a brief overview. So you've got your time that you can adjust, you've got your weather, you've got apps, you've got Media Center, Home Theater 4.0, you've got a web browser if you're going to be using a web browser for this. I assume most people aren't going to be using it for that. But if you do connect a keyboard and mouse, you can go to the web browser. And then on the bottom, you've got settings, control center, update, shortcut keys, image player. And then here, you can add different apps to that bottom row if you want to. And then over here, we have quick settings, cleanup, app lock, about. So let's take a look at the settings because this has a lot of options that you can configure. I feel like more than the ZPD. I haven't really had this for very long. I had this for about a day and a half, so I'm not going to do like a complete deep dive, but I just want to show you guys the functionalities and the customization that you can do. So you can change this to, oops, let me go back. So if I go down here, auto frame rate, I have options to match the frame rate only or match frame rate and resolution, which is very good. I think you should probably keep it on that. And then at the bottom, it has tips. So it tells you what each one does. I don't know what this is, frame rate pause time, so I'm not going to talk about that. Bookmarks, I still haven't figured out what this actually is. I'm hoping it's, you can bookmark scenes in movies and go back to them, kind of like how the, not the ZPD, but the Kaleidoscape does. I don't know yet. I need to do some more research on that, but you can change the language on audio tracks, subtitles, online subtitles. You can switch from 3D to 2D. You've got your function keys, so you can actually customize a remote and you can make different buttons do different things. I believe the ZIDOO does this as well, but I think this is more easier to understand and more in depth. So I'm using a Harmony Elite. I don't know if you guys can see that in the dark, but I'm using a Harmony Elite, and I changed some of these number pads, or I changed some of these function keys, and it reflected on the remote on the Harmony Elite without me having to change it. So really cool that you can customize that. And then on the play mode, you can have single file, repeat one, repeat all, random, or play in order. I'm assuming this is probably more so with like TV shows or something. So if you play a TV show and it ends, it'll probably go to the next one. I don't know why you want to repeat one or random. Not sure about that. And then forced subtitles, you have auto, off. You can follow the default flag, current audio track. So you can choose your language down there. So if we go back up to the top, we have display. You can lock the resolution. You can have it set to auto. I would recommend you keeping this to auto unless you just specifically want only one resolution. But you can go all the way down to NTSC PAL 480p. So I would recommend keeping this on auto, but you've got 3840 by 2160p at 60 Hertz. That's the max resolution that it can handle. And then you've got color settings. So you can change all these color settings, HDMI color range, deep color, HDMI signal, all this stuff. Again, I'm not going to go a deep dive into this because of the video will just be too long. But if you have one of these, then you can play around with all those settings. You've got HDR to SDR, HDR, you can do mapping, HDR 10. I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to try the Dolby Vision where it maps any content to Dolby Vision and see how that works. More than likely, I'll probably just leave it on auto, but I am interested to see, what that does to like SDR content and like 1080p content. So then you have Dolby Vision compatible, low latency, or standard Dolby Vision. So I have mine set to low latency Dolby Vision because I'm using an HD Fury 4K Diva, and I have to say the Dolby Vision on this looks absolutely beautiful, guys. Really, really good. Really happy with it. Then you have your Max CL, Max Fall, and then you can do custom EDID. Okay, let's go back up to the top, and if we go over to auto, we have HDMI auto, you have RAW, you can do LPCM 2-channel auto or off. I keep mine on RAW. RAW is basically bitstream. So if you want your Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, your object-based audio, keep that on RAW. Then you have SPDIF, you can downmix, native sampling, USB audio, pass-through, volume direct mode. And then over on network, you can do Wi-Fi, Ethernet connections, Bluetooth, Samba server, all that good stuff. And then under other, we can do language. You've got HDMI CEC, you've got power mode, HD hard drive sleep. I turn that off because I don't want my hard drives to go to sleep, which I don't have any hard drives connected to it at the point right now. I'm just using it off my server, the SMB. Then you have front panel display where you can adjust that. You can do keyboards, long press response, all that stuff. So those are the settings. Lots of stuff that you can go in there and customize. Now let's go into home theater because this is where your content and your media is going to live. Hey everybody, I wanted to take a quick moment to say welcome to my theater and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jordan, aka Haterade Cowboy, and I really appreciate you clicking on this video and supporting the channel. But the channel still needs your help. So if you enjoy the content that I produce here, why don't you do me a solid by hitting the subscribe button and hit the like button if you find value in this video. And don't forget to share it with your friends. All right, let's get back to the video. Okay, so now we're in home theater 4.0 and this is what it looks like. Again, I much prefer this over ZIDOO where, the regular home row is just, a bunch of settings and options. This has some similarities to Plex, where you get the movies that you've been previously watching, and then you've got like the image from the movie, and it's really nice. Again, this isn't my favorite. I pretty much like Plex. I keep saying that. Plex's user interface to me is just way, way better. This is way better than the ZIDOO's interface. It still has some improvements to make, and there are some things that I would like to see improved, but I do like this. So here you can see the movies that I've been watching on the top row. In the middle row, you've got, you know, your categories. You've got movies, TV, unmatched, board, and this is standard. This is what comes on the ZIDOO. And then these over here, I've basically kind of like favorite. These are the folders that I've created on my computer, and like literally that's what they're named, Ultra HD, but you can pin them. So I have some Blu Ray ISO stuff. And then on the next row, you've got recently added. And then you've got some categories, some genres, drama, science fiction, war, action, stuff like that. And then you've got recommended. So very, very cool. Now, what I want to show you is if I go into a movie, so if I go into Top Gun Maverick, when you click on a movie, and you can customize this, you can customize it to have less information or more. This is what I have customized. I absolutely love how this looks. Beautiful. So you've got your movie poster here on the left, you've got your background image, and then if you wait long enough, let me mute that. If you wait long enough, it'll start playing the movie preview up in the right-hand corner. Really, really cool. So here, you've got all your information. You've got the movie, you've got IMDb ratings, you've got Rotten Tomatoes, you've got your rating, PG-13, you've got action drama, you've got your synopsis, and then I really like this down here. It shows you everything. Now Plex does this as well, but I actually like the way this is laid out more on Plex. I mean on the ZIDOO, believe it or not. But you've got your resolution, you've got Dolby Vision. It tells you all of the codecs, H.265, Dolby Atmos, MKV, 23.976. And then if I go to more, it'll tell me everything. So a lot of information. And there's even more information when you're watching a movie. So if I go here, I can hit play. Here I can watch the trailer, and then I can favorite this. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play, and I want you to see how quickly the movie starts. Now remember, this is not on the actual ZIDOO. I don't have any hard drives connected to it. This is just pulling it from my server, from my computer that's in a completely different room. All right, and then it asks me if I want to resume or keep playing, so I'm going to hit pause. So when I pause it, obviously it's paused. But if I hit OK or the enter button, then it pauses it, and then it shows me all this information over here on the left. And then on the bottom, you can see how many minutes has been playing and how long the total is for the movie. So then it'll go away, right? Cool. So if I hit info, then I get even more information about the movie, the actual movie. So before, the other information was on, you know, where the stuff is located, the codecs and stuff like this. But this is actually cool. I don't know if you clicked on the movie, you probably already know what movie you're watching. But just in case, if you wanted to, if you hit info, you can see the poster art. It'll tell you the synopsis again. It'll tell you brief, it'll tell you a brief synopsis. It'll tell you who's in the movie up here. It tells you how many subtitles there are, if they're on or off. It tells you the audio, English, Dolby True HD, aspect ratio, real-time bit rate. So a lot of information. This is really cool. I really like this. Now, if I hit more, then it gives me that. So then I'll hit OK or hit back, and then the movie starts playing. Now, while it's playing, I can hit info, and then if I hit info again, then the movie will keep playing with some real-time stats up in the corner. So I'm gonna pause this because I'm gonna get hit with copyright stuff. So tons and tons of information. I really, really like this. I feel like this is a little bit more in-depth than the ZIDOO. Again, the ZIDOO is a great piece of machine. I really liked it. The only thing I just didn't like was the user interface and some of the things that I felt that was lacking, but I'm really happy with this ZIDOO. Now there's another thing that I wanted to show you. So I'm gonna back out of this because this does support, the ZIDOO does support ISO playback, and it works. So I'm gonna show you that. Okay, so I'm gonna back out, and then I'm gonna go over to midway. Now, if you'll notice over here, you'll see a play button and then you'll see BD. BD means Blu-ray. So that means that it's an ISO file. Now, what you can also do is, let me back out here. So if I go down here to Blu-ray ISO, now you'll see you'll get a little bit different look. Now, hopefully you can see it, but now you'll see it actually says Blu-ray. So if I click over on Blu-ray, that will actually activate the Blu-ray disc. You'll see the little spinner there, and it looks just like it would if you put a disc into your Blu-ray drive. Now, it takes a few seconds, less than a minute, but it takes a little bit of a while to get that Blu-ray menu up and running. So you might be faced with a blank screen for a while, but just know that it's gonna pop up. Okay, so now we have our Blu-ray screen. So I can go to setup. I can change the audio, English Dolby Atmos, you know, whatever audio that I want. And then I'm going to go to subtitles if I want to activate subtitles, just like you would. It's almost like I have a disc in the Blu-ray player, only there's no Blu-ray player. This is all digital. So I'm gonna back out of that, back out. And then if I want to go to scenes, I can select a different scene. Now, I also want to note that this is actual 4K Blu-ray with Dolby Vision. However, you cannot get Dolby Vision on an ISO file, unfortunately. Now, hopefully they change that. Hopefully they update that. Dolby Vision only works on MKV rips that I've seen so far. But if you're using this, if you're somebody that uses all ISO files, just know that you will not get Dolby Vision. And I've tried it, I've tested it, I've looked at the HD Fury 4K Diva, and it just defaults to HDR10. Again, hopefully that's just a limitation that can be upgraded in the future, but yeah. And actually what's funny is this is actually, the menu is actually in Dolby Vision, but not the movie, so it's kind of weird. So I'm gonna pick a scene just to show you. So then it'll ask me if I want to resume. I'm gonna hit continue. And then if I want to bring up the menu, I can hit pop-up menu on my remote, and then the menu pops up and I can control it just like I could with, you know, as if it was in, the disc was in a Blu-ray player. So really cool, guys. I'm very happy with the ZIDOO so far. So then if I pause it, you can see I get this row down here that I can actually, you know, use the controls. If I want to pause it, rewind it, fast forward, and then it gives me some information at the top. So this is a really cool piece of gear, guys. Like I said, I've used the ZIDOO for a few months, loved it, absolutely incredible. But I'm liking the ZIDOO even more. And this is like their bottom tier player. So this is the ZIDOO Z9X, and I'm super excited to, you know, put this thing through its paces. I played around with it for maybe 4 or 5 hours yesterday when I first got it, so I'm enjoying it so far. I haven't had any bad experiences with it, but make sure you stay tuned to the channel because I'm going to be doing a full review on this. And let me know in the comments if you guys have any ZIDOO products and what you think about it as well. All right, guys, that's going to conclude it for this unboxing. Again, I'm super excited to test this out. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell notification so you don't miss when I post future videos. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.